A high school graduation ceremony signifies the end of adolescence and the transition from adolescent to adulthood. Before graduation, a child lives at home with their parents or guardians and is expected to achieve passing grades in preparation for college. Once he or she receives his or her diploma, he or she is considered an adult and is responsible for handling adult responsibilities. A rite of passage in a rite of passage is a ritual that changes a person's social status. They are celebrated differently throughout the world. Despite the diversity, the main purpose of a rite of passage is to transition the individual into the new role in life. I will talk about three types of rites of passage First, I will talk about the Jewish religious rites of passage for boys and girls. Then I will talk about the Latin rite of passage for girls, and then I will talk about the transition a boy must go through in order to become a man in Zambian culture. So according to Freeman in 2014 article called Teaching the Age-Old Torah in a New Era, when a boy reaches the age of 13, he must go through a ceremony known as a bar mitzvah. And when a girl reaches the age of 12, she will go through a similar procedure known as a bat mitzvah. The child must go through a synagogue, which is a religious institution, and worship. The boy would have to read the Torah scroll in Hebrew. However, girls are not obligated to read the Torah. After the ritual, the child's family will have to celebrate the child's transition to adulthood with the transition to adulthood with a party called Mazel Tov, which literally means congratulations. At the party, the child is showered with gifts and candies and is considered as a new adult. He or she is given the right and responsibilities such as being able to sign a contract and to testify in a court proceeding. A boy is then able to participate in a leading religious service, however, girls can't. So according to Romo and her researcher in a 2014 journal, Latina mothers and daughters' expectations for autonomy at age 15, when a girl's 15th birthday ushers her into womanhood. A quinceañera is a celebration that is often celebrated lavishly, much like a wedding. She would have the celebration traditionally begins in a church. There she would receive the priest's blessings, and she must devote herself to protect her sexual virginity and spirituality. She would have to leave a bouquet of flowers at the altar to symbolize her purity. She would also have to give her last doll to a younger female sibling or relative. After the ritual, the girls celebrate her birthday. The party often have a DJ or a mariachi band with At the final ritual, the girl is required to change her shoes. The father of the daughter would have to change her shoes with a pair of heels. Now she's considered as a fully grown woman. So in Zambian culture of Papua New Guinea, the Zambians glorify masculinity in men and see femininity in men as degrading. The Zambians practice 6 stages of initiations known as masculinization. known as masculinization. The cycle begins when the boy is between 6 to 10 years of age. Generally, the mother raises both genders of her children, and up until when the boy reaches his minimum age, he will be removed from his mother's cult and be placed in his father's cult. Then a war leader would have to stick a sharp cane up the boy's nostrils to make him bleed excessively. If the boy tries to escape, he will be treated severely, worse than the others. In the second stage, and according to Divya in a 2014 article, the semen eating tribe of Papua New Guinea, boys would have to perform oral sex on men. The Samians believe that boys do not naturally develop semen, so that it must be implanted inside them. In the third stage, the boy would have to be taken to a tree to be whipped and be purified from any female contamination. In the fourth stage, the boy would have to be married. And the fifth stage, the boy would have to make his nose bleed again, and he would have intercourse with his wife. And then finally, in the sixth stage, once he has a baby, he would be considered as a fully grown adult. He is then a fierce, strong warrior. Now that you know that rites of passage vary from culture to culture, their main purpose is to transition the child into a new individual. I talked about the Jewish religious rites of passage. Then I talked about the Latin rite of passage for girls. And then I talked about the transition one must go through called masculinization. People go through rites of passage differently. For some people, their rite of passage is given to them. For others, their rite of passage, they have to go through a series of tasks. Be grateful of your culture and rite of passage.